Bye. I hope you appreciate what I do. I hope you appreciate it. Oh, because today has been quite a thing. Oh, I'll try not to bore you with all the details, man, but there's the thing. Our town, I live in California in a place where it very rarely snows. We'll get like a couple inches once every 5 years or something, but we just had like the biggest snow in like 50 years. Snow like 9 inches. We're not equipped to deal with it. And it wouldn't have been so bad, but the power went out, and like really the power goes out on the day of the direct. So like half the people in town have power, but it's random. So to go, you watch the commentary, you'll know that I had to go over to a friend's house, scramble over to my friend Chris's house to go watch the direct with him. And then I'm like, of course my power will be back on by the time I get home. Because other people's are coming back on, so I go back home, and no, it's not, and I'm just like, I got videos to edit. I've got a discussion to do, so I had to go. I'm at my friend Brian's house right now, in his bedroom, locked away from everybody else. You'll probably hear some kids screaming again, probably, maybe some dog barking. Everyone has kids and dogs. Everyone I know, it's great. So like I had to move like my computer. I need to get an editing laptop, and I didn't want to, and now I'm like, oh my gosh, I wish I had one. I had to bring it's a huge case of my PC, my monitor, and all my stuff, my cards and everything, but it's like 1 billion feet of snow outside. And it's raining. It's snow and it's raining, so it's slushy. And so I just had to like wrap everything in bags and drag it all out to the car, and just soaking wet, soaking wet. I had to hook everything up in his kitchen. Oh, it's been a nightmare. Oh, it's been a complete nightmare. But here I am, and now all this stuff is gonna be kind of late, but better late than never, and better today than tomorrow. I'm adding on to that old saying. That's good. That's deep. Anyway, let's get to it though. We just had a Nintendo Direct presentation. I will save my overall thoughts for the very end, and I will start with the big ones. Obviously, it opened and ended with the big ones for me. Started out with a bang. Super Mario Maker 2. My prediction was correct. Absolutely correct. It really doesn't count. I guessed it last year, so it's kind of lame. Guessed it again this year. I mean, it was inevitable, right? I'm not going to be like one of those people those rumor mongering people. It's like, oh, I was right this time. Like, it was a pretty good guess, you know? You know what I mean? It was pretty inevitable. Anyway, it looked great. Every single time we get a tiny little hint of how Nintendo just kind of listens, even in little things, it always makes me happy. So like, Mario Maker 2, starts out the direct, which obviously is great because then it's just like whatever else happens for the whole direct, you know, you at least got one really good announcement. Absolute first thing they show, slopes. It's just funny. Like, there are a lot of things Mario Maker could do, but slopes was like the one that everyone talked about. So I just think that's another little winking kind of like thing of, yeah, we're listening, you guys. You know, like, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? It's just like, hey, Mario Maker, also slopes. It looks phenomenal. It looks really, really good. Even just in that trailer, it showed off so many. I had to go back and watch it again. So many new mechanics. Just so many. So many, you know, enemies and mechanics. Some of these are going to just change everything. You know, like, create so many more new, incredible. Like, the first one was already great, but it was kind of limited. Now, there's like barely any limit to what people can make. Like the snaky platform that you can draw and it goes around, like those make for some of the best levels. And like the clear pipes, and I love how they introduced the 3D world stuff. It's just kind of fun. It's just another style, I guess. The cat suit, just so random. It looks great. It looks really, really, really good. And I know I've said it before, but it's like, it was almost a big thing on the Wii. I mean, it was. Like, YouTubers were doing it and everything. It was a big deal, but it was held back. I mean, the Wii U, sorry. The Wii U, it was held back by being on the Wii U. Nothing is holding it back anymore. The Switch is hot. And, like, sure, the ice has been broken, sort of, as far as Mario Maker goes. It's not a brand new concept. But at the same time, I just think it's going to be massive. I think it's going to be a really, really big deal for the Switch. I think that's basically it feels funny to call it a system seller, but it kind of feels like it is. A lot of people are really into that, really into Mario, and it just looks like a blast. It looks great. Even little things, the selecting items on the wheels now, oh, it's good. But I could go on, but I won't. And you know what I love most of all is that June release date. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. You know, as I'll talk about later, not a lot of this year was very clear, and we didn't know exactly what we were getting and when. It's really good to have what is basically a big game, you know, first half-ish of this year. You know, June is at the end of the first half, kind of feels good, feels really good. That's going to be an incredible one around E3. And especially, like, if at E3 there ends up being one or more really big hype-building announcements, that combined with the fact that Mario Maker's coming out, like, there's going to be a ton of buzz around the Switch. There's the crying, sorry. Baby crying in the background. Ton of buzz around the Switch around E3. They just build up that momentum, you know what I mean? So, Link's Awakening. How fun. It's like I said in my commentary, it's like it was kind of out of left field, even though it shouldn't have been. Because there have been rumors of a Zelda and even a 2D Zelda, and like I should have put it together that they're going to start. I mean, they've been doing, you know, remasters of the 3D games. Lots of games are getting remakes and remasters. It only makes sense to start remaking the original game. 2D Zelda games, top-downs, whatever you want to call them. Yeah, it only makes sense. And Link's Awakening was a really, really good one to do, because that game is positively terrific. And I'm pretty darn excited about that. The art style, I am like watching the opening with the nice paintery picture. That was nice. I was a little disappointed that that wasn't in the game itself, that the style wasn't like that. I feel like that would have been really pretty. The style is quite good. It's really, it's a very popular style right now. A lot of people are going for that kind of, with the sharp depth of field to make everything kind of look like a toy or a model. I'm like, the more I think about it and the more I watch the trailer, I am slightly torn on it. Like, it is absolutely great. It does look really good. I'm just wondering if it was the best choice. It's definitely an expansion, you know, whatever, iteration on the Link Between Worlds style. Just the same kind of general feel, but then more zeroed in on that kind of toy kind of feel. Everything looks it almost looks plasticky, and the depth of field almost looks like Lego, you know, everything is very exact squares like the original. I'm just wondering if that was the best one, or if they should have tried something, the painterly thing, or like 3D graphics, but not like a toy. You know what I mean? Like, it looks really pleasant. I'm just not sure. I will have to see more. I will have to play it. It'll be great. I don't know, maybe something a little more artistic, or it always kind of bugs me. I had this problem with Pokemon Let's Go, Pikachu and Eevee, where you're remaking a game in a full 3D engine on current gen hardware, and you still have to use the same grid system of the original. You know what I mean? Like, it still has to be, all the grass is cut into exact squares. That's what's going on here. It's like a remake, a square by square remake, and I just have to wonder if that was necessary. I do know that 2D Zeldas in general operate that way. I don't know, maybe they just could have made it feel a little more natural. I'm not sure though. Overall though, very excited. Very excited. That is an excellent game. Because I'm a cheapskate, that baby's really crying. Because I'm a cheapskate, every time I see like a remake, I always have to be like, how much is it gonna cost? You know what I mean? I know some people get mad if we want to talk about that. I do have to wonder, $60 will feel a little steep for it. It's a great game and everything, but it's a Game Boy game. It's not the longest. I mean, it's not like short or anything. I guess I can't remember how long the playtime was, but I don't know. It doesn't feel like a $60 game, but I feel that about a lot of games, and apparently Nintendo disagrees, and some other people disagree too. Not a huge deal. Just saying, I'm wondering. I'm curious. Wonder if they'll go for a 40 or 50, or if they're going full 60. It just feels like it'll be a bit of a hard sell for them. Even just from their perspective. Hey, here's a kind of cutesy, toy-looking remake of a Game Boy game. $60. I don't know. Might be tough. Maybe not, though. Maybe it's great. I'm very excited to play it, and I very much hope it does come out this year. I don't know when. I don't know. It's kind of weird at this point now that we're in the year and we're well into the year, you know, good amount through February, anytime something doesn't get a release window, it's weird. I kind of like, at the very least, holiday, fall, summer, something like that, just as 2019. So fingers crossed it actually does come in 2019. And it most certainly is exciting that it does open the door for more 2D remakes. There's a lot of really excellent 2D Zelda games out there. You know, you got the Oracle games, you got Minish Cap and stuff, although I'm not sure I would want all of them to be in the same style. I have a lot of other ideas for the other games, but we'll talk about that later. But I'm excited about the idea. You know, like, Nintendo wants to put a Zelda game every year or whatever. That means, you know, between remasters and top-downs and spin-offs and stuff, I like the idea that maybe 2-3 years from now we'll get another one. Maybe we will get Oracle, maybe Minish Cap or something. Maybe 1 or 2. Like, I think a remake of 2 would be pretty cool. That's the whole thing. Moving on. So we got a lot of stuff on Fire Emblem. You probably know I'm not super familiar with Fire Emblem. I've never played a full Fire Emblem game. I like the idea. I played the demo of Awakening on the 3DS, and I really enjoyed the demo. I'm not a, you know, I did the impressions video for Fire Emblem Warriors on the Switch a while back. And, yeah, I don't know. I'm not super into, I don't know, just like the general, like the story and all that stuff. But I'm into the gameplay. And seeing more now, it still does not look that much better than it did at E3. It just, it really just, it looks like a handheld game. It looks like a 3DS game that they kind of just scaled up. And I know I say that a lot, but it just kind of does. Like, I can see, like, the top-down thing looking one way, but then when they go into the battle and it's supposed to look really cool, it kind of doesn't. It looks really plain. It kind of lacks life. The textures aren't very good. It's not a huge deal. Obviously, the graphics aren't the most important thing. I just kind of wish they were more. I mean, you know, they have made console games in the past. They made the GameCube one. I don't remember. I feel like that looked pretty all right. A lot of it, you know what? Now that I think about it, I think of what it's lacking a lot of is color. So maybe we'll see different environments, but like it's always just these like plain, rocky plains. And I don't know why, but I'm happy to see that there's just one and not two, that you have to buy both to do the whole story. I'm glad to see there isn't just like a load of DLC. I'm sure it'll be coming later. Maybe more editions will be coming later too. But at least right now, it's just like, here's the game. Buy the game, enjoy the game. But I'm actually looking forward to that. I hope I'm smart enough to play it. So then I get a review copy and I'm just like, oh, sorry guys, I wasn't smart enough to play this game. I'm no strategist. Anyway, looking forward to that. I'm glad it didn't get delayed a bunch. I know it was going to be in spring. Well, I mean, it was going to be in 2018, so it kind of got delayed into 2019. But I'm glad it didn't get pushed to the end of the year, next year or something. You know, it was going to be in spring. It's in July. That's not a big deal at all. It's a couple months, so that's nice. So we got Mario Maker in June. Got that in July. Pretty good. And then we had a lot of little things. Captain Toad, getting new content for that is interesting. It definitely kind of opens. I mean, like, it's a port, and then it eventually ended up getting some DLC on its own that exceeded the Wii U version. And has that happened? Like, did that happen with Pokemon, with Pokken DX? Did it end up getting content the Wii U one didn't? I kind of feel like it did, but it doesn't happen a lot, basically. And I think it's interesting. There's a full 2-player mode now instead of one person just being the cursor. You can both do it, and that's pretty fun. I don't know how the camera will work with that. You know, you turn the camera all the way around, how you gonna see or whatever. I like that there's a free update, and then there's also gonna be some paid content. I'm still not clear on how much it will be. I mean, obviously, I don't know much about it at all, but it's just cool, and it definitely brings up the idea of, like, it is still possible for them to add on to Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. You know what I mean? Like I could see them doing like a substantial update for that instead of, because I think they were saying they don't want to do Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, or they don't want to do Mario Kart 9 on the Switch. That would mean the Switch never got its own, but what if it got its own ton of exclusive content? What if they released a huge DLC pack for Mario Kart? That's a whole different thing. Really, just it got me thinking about it, because with Captain Toad, it was like, oh yeah, it's a port from the Wii U, but then they're like, well, let's expand on it like it's not, you know, like it's a Switch game, and that's pretty neat. Astral Chain looked interesting. I don't have a lot to say on it. I don't know yet if it's my kind of game. Just not really my style. But watching the trailer a couple more times, like it looks pretty interesting. It looks fun. Looks like a pretty cool little adventure game. So I'm sure lots of people. Platinum makes real good stuff. hope people probably be pretty cool in that. Wonderful 101 would have been a really good announcement around there. Whatever, that's the whole thing. Assassin's Creed 3. Why did it take them so long? I just have to wonder. An Assassin's Creed game on the Switch made the most sense in the world, and there are so many old last-gen ports that would have been super easy. It's just weird that it took them this long. It was nice it's finally happening, even though I feel like I hear a lot of people complain about 3 as being like the worst one. Like 2 is like the best, and then I loved 4, Black Flag, because of the boats, and it's weird they picked 3. I mean, I guess just because they're doing 3 remastered for all the other systems too. I don't really know, but it's nice it's there. Although I will say, like, every time I look at the footage, at least in the direct, really choppy frame rate. It doesn't look like it's running really well. There's no reason for it not to run actually perfectly. You know what I mean? Anything that was last gen, like we have Resident Evil Revelations 2, we have Dark Souls, like things that do have current gen equivalents, whether it's a remaster or just a version, but they had a last gen one, so when you put that on the Switch, it runs perfectly because the Switch is more than capable. It's even more powerful than a PS3 or a 360. So if it ran on those, it's running better. So I'm not exactly sure why Assassin's Creed 3. I don't think they would put the remastered current gen one on the Switch. That wouldn't make any sense. You would just do the old one or like somewhere in between. Not sure. Looking kind of weird. Starlink. I am very pleased that they're putting out more Star Fox missions, and very surprised. Ubisoft seems to be supporting it. I don't know if this... I mean, it seems like a failure. It seems like it really didn't sell. All the games that went on super duper sale, like, instantly. I don't know if they just had a lot of updates in the pipeline, and they just were like, you know what? Whatever. Finish them up. Maybe they'll drum up some more interest. I don't know. Maybe they were going to charge for some of this DLC, but they were like, forget it. Just put it out there. I don't really know. Maybe they're just like, we think this is a cool product. We're going to support it. I'm excited to play. I love how Peppy, Slippy, and Falco are like all unique flyers now, and they each get their own abilities and stuff. Really neato. And there's racing. That whole Star Fox Grand Prix thing. Is there a chance, maybe, that somebody at some point, became privy to some knowledge, some insider info, and somehow ended up seeing some footage of the Star Fox DLC in Starlink, and saw people racing in their R-Wings, and thought, oh look, they're making a Star Fox racing game, and that's where the whole thing came from. It doesn't seem likely, because that rumor's been around for longer than they've probably been working on this DLC, but, like, you have to wonder, right? Or maybe the rumor made them think of the DLC, and they were like, hey, remember that rumor about a Star Fox racer? Let's put some Star Fox racing in Starlink. So, I don't know. Really interesting. But I'm looking forward to playing it. Maybe one of these days I'll start up a new file or something and, play some of the other DLC Ubisoft put out. I know, I'm one of the few people that cares about Starlink, but I care about Starlink. I want to see it turn into something cool. It was good. It had a lot of problems. Anyway, not talking about Starlink right now. What else? I will say, Hellblade. Hellblade Cerulean Sacrifice. Weird. Just weird. Just a weird pick for the Switch. I have to imagine that the developers thought it'd be cool. We're just like, hey, we think the Switch is cool. Let's put it on there. Just weird. It doesn't seem like a very Switchy game. It's like this, really amazing graphics, kind of weird, I don't know, just kind of adventure, emotional thing. And why the Switch? I don't know, but cool. Definitely cool. Like I said in my commentary, I've wanted to play it. It's been on my wish list. I don't think I'll play it on the Switch just because it doesn't look like a handheld game. It doesn't really benefit from taking it on the go. I'd rather just sit down, play it on something to get the good graphics, and then be done with it. But it's very much cool that people get to experience it because it looked really neat. It was like, it's an indie game, but it doesn't look like an indie game at all, and that was so cool about it. Anyway, two kind of general things. Lots of RPGs. Like, tons of them. I am very happy for JRPG fans. I am not one myself. However, there are a lot of really cool-looking RPGs, in general, and also just in this direct. Rune Factory, and we finally got the, Final Fantasy VII coming, and Final Fantasy IX releasing today, which leads me into my next kind of general thing of there was a lot of later todays, which was really neat. Demos for Demon X Machina and Yoshi, and then just like full releases of just tons of stuff. Like you saw, like I lost count of how many just demos and games were just like today, and I think that's a lot of fun. That I mean, you know, there's already a lot of hype for directs, but it's even more so to be like, what kind of thing is just gonna randomly drop today? What full games am I gonna be able to play? Especially demos, because you just like run on there, download them, and just do them, you know. So that's fun. I'm looking forward to playing Demon X Machina and Yoshi in particular. And yeah. So that's all the main stuff. I mean, you know, there's plenty of other games, but as usual, I don't want to talk about every single individual game if I don't have anything to say about it. So now let's get to what was missing. I am surprised we haven't had anything on Pokemon. I kind of expected a Pokemon thing to drop, you know, a couple days before the Direct. I guess, I mean, technically, it is still pretty early in the year. It could be the next one, or maybe even June. They'll reveal Pokemon. I really just was hoping for something. But whatever, it'll come. The big, and then Bayonetta 3, that was another missing one. Mr. Koizumi said, you know, just stay tuned. And that's still fine because we still don't know how far in development it is. So that made sense. I wasn't like getting my hopes up on that or anything. Obviously, Metroid Prime 4 isn't coming. Really, Animal Crossing and Luigi's Mansion were the ones that felt weird that they were not there. You know what I mean? They were both revealed near the end of last year. They're claiming that they're 2019 titles. So it's like going into this Direct, it's kind of, why not? You know, I mean, I guess really it's not necessarily necessary. If they're going to be second half, it could be the Direct a couple months from now, or E3 could have given us more. But just like, even just one of them, you know? Animal Crossing feels very pregnant for the reveal, because all we had was not even a title, just the idea that it was coming. So it's just like, okay, if you are serious that it's coming in 2019, we're gonna need to get something. And I know, there's still time, but just a little disappointing, because there's so many games coming in the future that when you go into a Direct and you don't really get much of it, it's kind of a bummer. And then, of course, no Smash stuff. That was a bummer. It almost felt like, why even mention it? Because he's like, oh, there's new features coming to Smash, but you'll have to wait and see. Okay, thanks, great. And no character reveal or anything. I guess they showed off some of the new amiibo, and that's pretty all right. They did give us a release window for Joker, which is pretty good. I would have liked a date would have been nice, or some gameplay of him would have been nice, or a reveal for the next character. I mean, we got 4 characters coming, and we got a year to do it. So, I don't know. It just felt a little weird. Just being like, hey, remember the Smash exists, but we're not actually going to tell you anything. So, okay. And then you got your rumors, Metroid Prime Trilogy. I'm never going to stop hoping for that. And it was so heavily rumored before that it was like, hopefully they would stick it in this one. If it is true that it was going to be revealed, but they delayed it because of the delay of Metroid Prime 4, it probably does mean it's going to be a while before we see it. I mean, I could be wrong. It could also not exist, but if it does exist, I don't know. I hate the idea, but maybe it'll be a while. Maybe they will hang on to it until closer to when Metroid Prime 4 is actually done. Not really sure, but it was a bummer not to see it just because I wanted so bad. And then no Pikmin 3. I mean, like, people were talking Pikmin. I think Pikmin 3... It's like I said in the commentary, I don't even know if it was a real rumor, or if people were just saying it, because there's barely any Wii U games left that haven't been ported, and Pikmin 3 is one of them. Just kind of feels right. So I don't know if that's why everyone was saying it, or if there was a real leak or whatever. I don't pay attention to all those leaks. But that didn't happen either, or Pikmin 4, so, you know. I'll get Pikmin on my Switch another day. Just bring 1 and 2, man. Just bring a 1 and 2 collection. Please, just do it. Like, don't stop not doing it. Anyway, moving on. So that's all the specifics. So overall, here's what I think about this Direct. Overall, it was good. It was good, which is good. Wow, that was a scream. It's like, you know, we've had worse. The problem with good is it's kind of like, it didn't feel like the time of year for good. You know what I mean? Like, it was, well, I mean, it was a little bit like my disappointment last year. It's you know, it was January, it's the beginning of the year. It's kind of like, all right, we have a lot of info. There's a lot of question marks. What are we going to be playing this year and next year? And then it was kind of just like, here's a, you know, an okay handful of stuff. And it just feels like the time for something bigger. Mostly just because I know I'm always calling back to 2017. I know it's not always going to be the same. It felt so perfect in 2017. Big one at the beginning, big one in the middle. And it felt right. The big one at the beginning told you about all the rest of the year. Big one in the middle for June told you about next year. So just again, we're at another first of the year direct, and not an absolute ton. And also, it's kind of like last year again, where there's not much in the first half of the year, and I'm kind of frustrated that Nintendo has done that again. I kind of thought, you know, if 2018 was a breather year, I thought 2019 would finally, they'd get back on it, but it's like, it's Yoshi. The first half of the year, for the most part, is Yoshi. And it's just like, really? Again? We're going through this? But fortunately, unlike last year, I mean, well, no, last year we ended up getting, you know, a couple of big games at the end. This one, a lot more of a steady release schedule, especially now that it's been filled out a little more with Mario Maker. That helps tremendously fill out the schedule because, like, sure, first half of the year, you know, first 5-6 months, it's just Yoshi in March. Okay, and then, you know, we had Mario, No More Heroes in January. So, okay, you know, a handful. But then in June, it's Mario Maker. In July, it's Fire Emblem. And then if it's going to be Pokemon in, you know, October, November, December, that's a really good one too. And that's another reason why I'm so nervous about getting info on Luigi's Mansion and Animal Crossing, just because I want to know if I can rely on them to be this year. I want to know, because if I can, then yes, the second half of this year is awesome. It's totally awesome. I just, you know, I'm nervous. I'm a pessimist. I'm afraid it'll get pushed into next year or something. But yeah, and yeah, that's another reason I was just hoping for something. I want to feel assured that they will still be coming this year. Like they said, there's a big bug on my hand. Oh man, and I just squished it onto my leg. That's gross. Why is there a bug just chilling on my hand? I feel a little bad I squished him, but I also don't, because get off my hand, bug. Anyway, what was I talking about? Starlink. Yeah, I was talking about Starlink. No, just kidding. So anyway, I will say that if those come, I mean, if one of them comes, it'll still be pretty okay. But if both come this year, that's good. That's a pretty decent game just about every month for the second half of the year, and that's pretty cool. And then, of course, all of this third-party content is going pretty great. So yeah, like, it was a pretty good direct. Slightly disappointing. I wanted it to answer more questions and give me a better, clearer picture of the year, but we got more directs to do that, so it's not the end of the world. Slightly disappointed about the first half of this year. Not a big deal, because all of this really great stuff is coming, and that's really great. I mean, any direct with 2 solid reveals is, you know, that's a good one. Mario Maker and Link's Awakening. Anyway, I'm just going around in circles now. I will see you guys later. I love you. You have a good day. Now, if you'll excuse me, I gotta go edit all this in Brian's kitchen and then lug it all back through the snow to the car and then to my house. Oh boy, it's rough. It's rough. It's hard to be me right now. I just gotta say, it's hard to be Arlo. Can't even complain. Never snows here. Some people deal with snow all the time. Bye.